Welcome back to Daily DeFi. Today's July 31st of 2021. Man, this month has just blown by. I started out the month in Georgia, then I went to Armenia, from Armenia, Ukraine to Poland, to Czech Republic. Now I'm currently here in Bratislava, Slovakia. So it's been a lot of traveling for me. This month has, some people would say, hey, this is blown by. Personally, for me, I think this month has been a pretty long one. It's been pretty interesting. So today's topics are focused on Ren, ChainLink, and one other token that I did have pulled up here that I thought was interesting to look at is, where was it? Fantom FTM. That's the other one that is interesting on the daily time frame as everything else is kind of consolidating. Beyond that, we're going to talk about the future of DeFi. I've talked about this a lot on this channel, kind of how it's not just one individual chain, rather it's cross-chain interoperability, and then also this PulseChain Airdrop sacrifice phase that I've been covering is 3 days away. So all very interesting topics, but we always kick things off here on DeFi Pulse with juicy NFTs. So total value locked in is close to that $70 billion level. We're kind of starting to see this rise again, as Bitcoin kind of breaks above that 40K level. Aave dominance is down a little bit to 15.9%. DeFi Pulse Index is up. Man, I'm so glad I averaged in on those lows, and I continue to average in with the DeFi Pulse Index because, again, you're kind of getting a nice basket of all these top projects instead of just having to speculate, which I do personally hold some of these individual projects, but I also like to hold the DPI, the DeFi Pulse Index token, because essentially, again, you get this kind of basket of all of these. So moving on here to juicy NFTs. Wow, $38 million. This has got to be a new all-time high here. Like I've always said, man, this NFT historical volume chart is terrible on juicy NFTs. So if anyone knows something that's better than juicy NFTs, let me know. But this is just personally how I've liked to track this over a long time. I started tracking this back in September when I was in Belgrade, Serbia of last year. We're almost coming up on a year from then. But it was like $50,000 transacted daily, $100,000 transacted daily. 38 million today. Pretty crazy, pretty mind-blowing. CryptoPunks, I know Gary Vaynerchuk invested in one and apparently just blew. Everybody now is interested. So, because I mean, when he holds it, he's going to market the crap out of it. So, hey, again, if there's some sort of index on CryptoPunks, I would be kind of interested because personally, I don't necessarily want to hold an individual CryptoPunk. I don't really see the sunk cost being, hey, maybe it's an interesting thing long-term, but personally, I'd like to speculate in other things like commodities, emerging markets, rather than just NFTs, right? So personally with NFTs, I like indexes on things so I don't have to worry about the risk of just one individual NFT. Anyways, topic for another conversation here on the PulseChain.com website. You can see here, like I talked about while covering the series, essentially for every $1 in whatever token you're sacrificing to, which you just open the decentralized application, you sacrifice the token. With the sacrifice, the idea is per $1, at least at the start, you will receive 10,000 sacrifice points. But at the end of these 19 days, that essentially will be cut in half because the kind of game theory built in here is after day 5, which I was covering it in these days, it just increases 5% per day, which is kind of interesting actually. It's an interesting model. And then after the sacrifice phase is over, and that's for PLS, right? So the idea here is the sacrifice points, it'll be, at least what Richard Hart has said, is it'll be a ratio in, I think it should be 1-to-1 of sacrifice points to PLS, but you have to keep in mind, PLS will not have a price at the very start. It'll have price discovery once it hits the open market, once people are buying and selling it, that will actually set the price. But there's no real reason to have a artificially set price, right? So I think the way they're going about this with the Pulse chain is very, very interesting because he's essentially giving away all the coins you have in ERC20, at least the most of them, 10,000 coins, and even outside of ERC20 will be on Pulse, right? So it'll be P Aave or P what are we talking about? Fantom or P Link or P. So it's Pulse Link. So it's kind of the forked version of those. Those will also start out at 0, but once they have price discovery, maybe some of them will actually be worth a bit more in the Pulse chain ecosystem. So moving on here, they've obviously since this has gone up 5% consistently over every single day, it's dropped a little bit in total value locked in, hasn't gone exponentially higher. I think last time we covered this was maybe 5 or 6 days ago, and total value locked in is honestly about the same. It's around 557 million, yeah. Next, this interesting article from Cointelegraph, the future of DeFi is spread across multiple blockchains. Now, I have talked about this so much on this channel, how it's very important to be interoperable, how no blockchain is an island. Just like if you think about trade in different countries, like currently here in Slovakia, If Slovakia only traded with inside locals here, only in the domestic market, they didn't go international, well, they would not have the economic growth, right? So it's with this thing about that with all the different blockchains. So if let's say Polkadot didn't trade with Ethereum, or if Avalanche didn't trade with Cardano, or if Cardano didn't trade with Terra Lumens, or if Terra Lumens didn't trade with Binance Smart Chain. So you want to be interoperable. I've done this whole Launchpad ecosystem map series all about this, kind of going across all the different blockchains out there, focusing in on, okay, what are the different launch pads on that vertical of the blockchain? So what are all the different launch pads on Binance Smart Chain? What are all the different launch pads on Ethereum Layer 1, Layer 2? Compound, not Compound, Avalanche, all these different blockchains out there. But anyways, moving on here to top DeFi tokens. You can see here on the daily, everything's kind of in the green. Obviously, some of these things, with the stablecoin, it's not going to do very much. Clearly, I still don't understand why they have stablecoins in here. It's kind of annoying. Or wrapped BTC. It's a bit annoying. I'm not the biggest fan of CoinMarketCap. I'll be quite honest. I think they're innovating in interesting ways. They're adding this daily news recap. They added the swap feature, which I've covered in the past. So you can just natively swap inside instead of having to go there. So you could literally go okay, I want to trade Venus for Augur. You could go here to swap. You go boom, Venus. We would have to go to another. So we would have to go to another. We'd have to import it. But I think Augur should be on here. AGUR. That's strange. Anyways, you guys get the point. Basically, what you would do is you just go here, copy the Etherscan tracker sites, and pop it in there. But that's besides the point. Moving on to the top tokens that are doing pretty well. By the way, whenever I talk about these top tokens on the Daily DeFi episodes, this is not a buying signal. It's not a selling signal. It's none of those things. This is just purely for educational purposes, and it's really just for what are the outliers in the market, right? So if everything's maybe moving 1% to 2%, what are the things that are doing 10%? What are the things that are doing 20%? Or in this case, around 7%, right? With Fantom FTM, right around a $655 million market cap. Volume is at $46 million. We retraced from those highs of 91 cents to these lows, kind of obviously in this cycle, of 16 cents. And now we're almost close to doubling that. Next year with ChainLink, the Oracle, it's powering a lot of decentralized finance right now. Rank 13, massive market cap, close to $10 billion. I've talked about this one a lot. I'm very, very happy with my price appreciation with ChainLink. I got in this when it was under $1. Right now it's 11% up on the daily. So again, people that were buying it up here are like, hey, this has dropped so much, but me, I'm still happy, right? So I still sold a decent amount of my ChainLink, but I'm still going to hold a little bit of it, right? So I kind of like to use the tiered investment approach and not be black and white and go only sell or only buy. I like to kind of separate that out. Next year with Ren, ranked number 111, right around 43 cents on the daily, 13% up. Market cap is $433 million. Volume is 58 million. Interesting project. If you guys have any questions, any comments, and anything we talked about today, let me know in the comment section. You can follow us on Twitter and Instagram at investglobal_IO. So that's at investglobal_IO. Beyond that, we have the Telegram group. That's linked down below in the description. Everything we talked about in today's video will be down below in the description. So that's all for this one. If you enjoyed it, like the video, subscribe to the channel, stay up to date, hit the notification bell, and click all. As always, invest global. And until next time.